Hello, everybody. Welcome to February edition of Bouncyrock's bi-monthly banter. Here to have some Q&A and give you guys some updates on what all has been going on behind the scenes here at Bouncyrock. Today we have Chris and Jason. Johnny is unfortunately sick and will not be able to make it today, but we'll get the questions answered as best we can, and I'm sure we'll have some stuff to show off. With that, I'll go ahead and pass it to Chris.
Yeah. All right. So let's kick off with overview kind of things. It's good to be back on one of these. Yeah, we had Christmas, of course. So as you can imagine, the time, big chunk of December and a good chunk of January becomes essentially written off, or at the very least, we're working kind of very separately. So as we all got settled back in and things have picked up speed again, now it's getting pretty exciting, which is fun. One of the things that kind of team leads have been working on behind the scene is roadmap. We're talking very much about V1 of TaleSpire and what that's going to look like, what that could have in it. I would love to tell you all about that this time, but that's going to have to be next time because we're still, again, while the team leads have kind of rambled about this, we got to get this out to the rest of the team, and we need to go through and make sure we haven't been dumb about those things and unwritten or unrealistic. And so, yeah, that'll be going on, but I can tell you about the other stuff that's happening. I'm going to save the pretty stuff for a little bit later. So we'll start just with, engine side of things. I've been working behind the scenes on the VFX system. You might have seen a couple of my devlogs. So I am building, this might sound like it's kind of like, oh, this is like rain and snow and like, no, lower level than that. I'm building the tools that the artist can use to build that kind of stuff. What I provide with that is a way of making through kind of visual graph tools, which are very familiar to how we've been doing shaders, something similar, but that can build compute shaders that can run these kind of big meaty particle effects that we can have lots of with lots of particles and things like this. That's been going really well. In fact, Alex was holding down the fort now for a long time. He was with us for a good 6-7 month contract, and it was brilliant. He waded through so much of the painful stuff that I really was struggling with, like Unity's new UI system. I don't think I would have got as far with that now if I didn't have basically him laying all the groundwork for that. So that was really cool. So he got it to a state that it was like, right, here's one level. And then I found that some of my assumptions I made for undo redo system were a mess, and I had to do a whole bunch of rewriting. So I've been getting it closer to product ready now, which is nice. So I'm handing that over to Johnny and Jason next week, and then they'll immediately run into lots of problems, which would be great. Because a system like this, you're not just building here's building blocks to do things. You're also building ways to extend the system. So there's here's this graph that can compile to compute shaders and all these particles, and here's how you can have different relationships, and this particle can spawn other particles and all these things. But we also have, hey, you want to add a fundamentally new kind of node for these graphs. You can define those in C#, then they behave as you would expect something in Unity to, and all this kind of stuff, which is really cool. So the other day, being able to get to the point where I'm trying to make a very programmer effect, and then being able to go, oh, I need this node, and then write it in C#, and then use it, and then the shader effect updates all on the fly without going into play mode, it's been great. And I've learned a bunch of stuff on the way, so that's been really cool. And one of the big reasons we're doing this as well is that this lets us stay with the current rendering pipeline. I'm not sure if you guys have messed with Unity at all, but they have here's how we do drawing stuff, right? And then a good number of years ago, they're like, hey, we've got this whole new way of doing it. It's 5 or 6 years ago. And it's here it is. And it was super unready. It was super unfinished. Loads of stuff didn't work in it. It was part of that whole really rocky period for Unity where they were just bleeding mindshare while throwing money at all the wrong things. How much they're through that, I can't tell you. But at least they've rolled back the kind of worst stuff that we were looking down. But their new pipelines, again, if we were going to switch to those, while they got some great features, it still means a whole bunch of work and recreating the TaleSpire look in that system, updating tons of assets. It's a real pain. So in the near term, we're not doing that. So having our own VFX lets us be completely in control. We can do it with game objects, which their newer system was less tied to last time I looked. But also we can use it with how we do tile and prop rendering, which is very different. So there's some big advantages for us there. And let us just keep moving, because we can't just keep on jumping forward in versions hoping that things are going to work how they said they were going to work. So yeah, on the me side, like the first third of this year, I'm going to be working on stuff that's like not very visible to you folks specifically. Like I say, particle system tooling has been the first thing. I've already started work on some kind of architectural stuff to how systems in Unity are like built and how they can hook into things in the frame. This is some of the stuff I kind of touched on last time, which is like, oh my God, I know how we're going to do shadow stuff now. And I know how we're going to do getting some systems to be faster. That was really cool. So that's going to come up. We've also run into issues with the UI systems in Unity have been, we haven't been able to rely on them performance-wise. So we have to do our own kind of layout system for that, which is cool. That's something I've been wanting to do in my own projects anyway. So that's kind of fun to be touching on. I've done a little bit of research on that already. And yeah, it's shadows. Getting up to next, a big jump up into the next version of Unity, which is going to give us some things which allow us to do better performance. Sturfs, which ain't on my mind. Like I want TaleSpire to run, or we ought to run on the computers that you and your players have. It's no point having to have like I don't know, all the things we can't afford because of how the world is, just to be able to run TaleSpire. Then we've got stuff on the backend side. That's going really well too. It's lovely to see these days that like even when we have issues which affect the backend, which like you'll have seen every now and again we have a little problem. But it's not only is it caught early, and obviously each time we kind of post-mortem get it fixed. So Pavel's doing this. But also the architecture is in a state now where it self-repairs so much of the time. So systems go down, they know how to start themselves back up again and deal with all the kind of issues that you can have when that kind of stuff happens, which is really cool to see. Getting a bit more back into the game. Let's see. Well, actually, no, there was a couple more things on the backend side. Yeah, we're doing a little bit of work to make sure just resilience work against, if tensions in the world increase, data needs to be moved around through other channels. We've got avenues there. That's going well. And it's been a lot of work on that kind of behind the scenes, which is grand. And our future there is obviously, we got a new architecture that's being rolled out there, which is great. That's getting out the last of my old code and into the kind of new right of that. And I'm going to shut my phone up because that's going to be really annoying because I am a professional. And then, yes, of course, we use Photon, which is a library which you use, a service which we use for our real-time communication. So when you're rolling dice and we have to sync all that stuff, like stuff that's happening in real time as you're moving your minis, that goes over a service called Photon. It's been good to us, but we've also had issues. And so we're building something that we can use for that as well. That's kind of longer term, but is obviously where you have to make sure that as you're building these things, you're not painting yourself into corners. So there's design work that's happened there as well. More design work. And then, yeah, our own Chairmander has been working away on tags and such. And actually, I will do a little demo. I've got some notes here. So yeah, Pounder, if you can kick me over to the stream,
Gotcha.
and I will get into this. Okay, right. As you can tell, the demo gods have also already not been nice to us by taking out Johnny. They've gone after us here because I have got a build which is a mismatch, a mishmash. I can English all the words of assets with not complete tags, and also a new enough build that there are some other like really fresh bugs. So we'll see both of those in play today. So yeah, what we had before when you typed up here was purely tag search. You would search for tags and then you would click on one and then it would fill it out. So I don't know, let's take something like elf. This kind of suggestion would come up here. And then you'll be able to click on that and you would see the things tagged with elf. And that's great. But one of the things is when you start looking into a tagging system, you're kind of building this crazy taxonomy and you can go so detailed. That's an impossible task. So what we did is we pulled back and we built some more kind of fundamental tags. And then we also added fuzzy text search to the names. So we can do, let's just see, let's say boar, for example, would be a good one. You can see here that we're searching purely on the text boar right now, which is picking up a whole bunch of things. It's also picking up things like bard, because that's not too distant letter-wise to boar. But it's also suggesting here a synonym. Boar has been identified. This could be synonym to mammal. So if I click this, then we're adding the mammal tag. We're going to clear boar and we're going to pull in all the mammals. So maybe you want to do this. This can happen when you're like searching, like maybe you're searching for like a hawk, for example. And that's fine. I'm not sure if we actually got this in here now, but it would, like, a synonym would be bird, for example, which is actually going to get you, well, like, we're trying to be useful, right? So we're not going to have minis for everything in the world. So being able to get to something you can use to approximate the thing you need in your session, because you just need, like, it's like, okay, as long as it's, you know, bird of prey-ish, we're going to be fine. Also, an advantage of, let's get back to our boar again. The advantage of having text search is it includes the stuff that you guys have made. So these are community assets, right? Like this is down here in this section, which is fantastic. So that's like, yeah, that's really helpful. So if something hasn't been tagged, if it's a community asset, and also just there's certain things that really just belong in the, like, fit more in names than in tags anyway. And so between the two, we get something pretty good. It's really nice to be able to drill down. So it's not just what it is, but certain qualities. So you can have things like, oh, they're armed, for example. So this is searching, we're getting like arm, armor, farmer, things like this. But if I say armed, then we're like all of the miniatures that have, oh yeah, there's a bug. See that guy flickering. That was awesome.
So that guy's going a little crazy there.
Exactly. He is armed and dangerous. These guys, so anyone could really be, you know, like a fighter or something like this. Let's say, for an example, actually, I'm going to jump away from armed for a second. Let's just go to elf. Elf is a good example. So this elf, for example, there's nothing about her that says she can't be a fighter if you're like running her as a fighter. But there's nothing on the miniature itself that says, combat specifically. So when we're looking at something like armed, what we're getting there is like the miniature itself is holding something that indicates that kind of thing. And then also we could, you know, say, oh no, maybe it's ranged. So now it's like, yeah, we've got things with bows, guys with guns, all this kind of stuff. Or maybe we take that out and we do melee. If I could type, definitely not. And then we get more into like, you know, they're holding swords. You'll also find someone in here. I know there's a, let's see, they're not, let's say halflings. There's a bunch of synonyms I know should be there that aren't right now, and it's like, oh, this person, for example, right? So they are a halfling. They are ranged because they got a crossbow, but they also have a sword, which is, come on, Chris, which is why they're melee as well. So yes, let's see if I'm missing anything. Let me just check my notes. So yeah, we've got things for like, you know, like things that are often in the air, and then things that are often in like water. So if I search for, you know, like sea creatures, we can see that sea is a synonym that leads to water. So by clicking on sea, I'm getting the water tag, and we can see things that are both in the sea and armed. Or maybe I want things that are both in the sea and a mammal, or rather in the water and mammal, and we get our sea things here. So yeah, that's really coming together. So it's like in all directions we are approaching this now. What we're dealing with right now is, I'm not sure like how it feels to you, but we've got the search down to like millisecond for searching everything. We can get it faster, but that's like feeling okay right now. But the actual refreshing of this list is currently taking a bunch of time. And it's just because when we implemented this name stuff, I'm taking away all the credit. When Chair did this, he's like, was writing this in a way to test the feeling of it, right? So now we're going to go and he's going to go and do another pass and speed this up. But as you can see, we've started showing names of things now when you hover, which is really nice when you're searching. This also exposes, as he mentioned in the devlog, how kind of dodgy some of our naming is. Alchemy Jug 07. So we will be doing another pass and all that kind of stuff as well. Tiles and prop tagging will be coming down the line. They have a slightly different categorization than the creatures do, so we just need to do that, but it's all built on the same infrastructure, so we don't have to like re-implement search again or something. Before I forget as well, tagging is also obviously coming to community assets that you folks have made. We heard back a little from you last time, and you were open to the idea of us reaching out and doing some tagging. Some of you have like thousands of assets, and we would be quite happy to do kind of basic tagging for some of those for you. Yeah, we heard back from some people with like large collections that are saying, yes, you wouldn't mind us reaching out. So that is something we'll look into in the future. Obviously, nothing in here is tagged right now, but I can, like type human and click on this tag. And we have one miniature. I'm going to click on search here. We have one miniature that we've been tagging for testing that's tagged human. So yeah, it's also tagged 2D, which is silly, but we needed to test things. So that is coming. It will be made available. The value of that is going to be when like enough people like tag their stuff, which we've built tools to help you do inside Tailweaver Lite. Then the value of that search is really going to build up. We can't do the kind of fuzzy searches that we do on our own collections in there because we don't control the backend. We can only use what we're given in that front. So once things are installed, we'll fuzzy search everything. On those ones, we can provide tags and literal search. And yeah, it's going to be a big step up. So I'm super excited about that. Then we have, hope I'm not missing anything. Things on the art side. Hannah has been busy away renovating. Thank you very much. That was, I didn't say keep. Hannah has been busy working away on the renovation of the castle set. So it's just really gorgeous. This is, I think, the first set that we ever did. Is that right, Jace?
Yeah, it's first set.
Yeah.
So Johnny created a quick dungeon tile just to test out, but that was just a floor, a straight wall, and a corner. This was kind of like the first proper set. Yeah.
Sick. And so some of our kind of like design things were still being fleshed out when the TaleSpire one was made. That means there's some walls that aren't positioned as you would expect and don't gel as well with the other assets we have. We've obviously we're not removed anything, but we deprecated those ones. We've renovated them to fit in with everything else. Obviously, it's also been fleshed out to get the corners. It's looking gorgeous. We've got these really nice battlement pieces that I absolutely love. And it's all in all, it's just coming along really well. And it's getting just the real kind of love treatment that it should get for a set that's been around so long. Also on the art side, hey, actually, Jason, you'd be able to talk us through what's going on here, actually.
Let's see. That is the new rugs and banner pack that's coming out. So originally we were going to ship these along with the castle refurb, but they can have their own pack. Why not? So
yeah,
I've been working on these. And they're almost ready to ship. I'm going to be shooting for next week. I'm working on the low polys right now. So these guys will come out. And it just, I'm working on these, man. I mean, yeah, you can work. I mean, we could do hundreds of banners, hundreds of rugs. There's just never going to be enough. So This is just a start for now. And I'm not entirely sure, like, if I'm going to do color variations of them. I might not. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so look out for these coming pretty soon.
Yeah, that's really cool. And just to those, probably obvious, but like if you're not as familiar with these out there, this is in a piece of art software right now, so this isn't what they're going to look exactly like in game.
No. These are high poly sculpts in ZBrush.
Yeah.
So
but also the color side and all that kind of stuff is going to look different when it goes through the magic pipeline.
Yeah. It's going to have to go through Substance Painter and all that stuff and add some extra pop to it. So
it's going to be sick. Let me see if I missed anything. Oh, yes, I did. Hannah also wanted me to tell you that there are roofs being made for this as well. So new roofs are coming.
Yes.
They're going to be sick. They
are.
Again, every time she's so good at like pushing us into experimenting with different kinds of tiles and layouts and things. So that's been really beneficial, and it's gonna be cool to see what comes out. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. And we get on to a very nice thing. So Johnny was going to be able to show this tonight in Engine, but we'll have to make do with a video because that's what I have. He has been busy working on like VFX stuff, also just running the business in general. He's like, just life has taxes and audits and all kinds of just general business stuff that you get hit with every now and again. And it just comes out that we're working like, all right, I guess I'm doing this week now. So life been getting him, but he has also been working on status effects, and that's what I want to show here. So of course we've had status effects for knockdown, but here we can see a kind of poison, dripping goo, ghosts. We've got kind of a sleep, a dazed, an entangled, and all of these animate, by the way. Like, so obviously you're seeing like the goop is dripping here. This is how they all combine. So they work really well together. As you can see in a second, he's going to disable vines. He's going to disable ghosts. And then the confused is gone and the sleep is gone. And then the poison is just finishing off. I'm going to let this play through a whole time again because it's lovely. I've watched it a few times already. It's really cool. It's just so gorgeous. And making these like 3D things in a way that can interlock and look good in every combination is a marvel, and he's done a great job. We are still going to have like 2D status things as well, but like this is what we want to be able to do. Oh, wait a second. Like, okay, I'm seeing on my preview that's looking really choppy frame rate rise. How is it looking for you guys? I'm just going to check on.
It is looking fine on my version over here.
Cool, that's all right.
At least over here on XSplit.
It looks good. Okay, great. The people in chat saying it's great.
Yeah, our video software kind of crunches things on our view a little bit.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, so in the vine thing, I wish the vine thing was more obvious here as well, but it like grows out around your character, and this works with all the minis you've made as well, right? So this isn't just special stuff for us. This works on your miniatures. Like the poison works with the mesh of the creature that you made to make the drips fall off the right places. It's just dope. I just love this stuff. So yeah. I mean, I just noticed the kind of like gooped horse in the background.
Yeah, the Pegasus is getting poisoned. You got like oh man.
So yeah. It's great.
Oh no, it's a unicorn, sorry.
Oh, there's someone sleeping in the cave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, there is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. One of the lovely thing about I'm sure you want to, but like working with a team, it's just so cool because like someone will just come out of the woodworks for something like this, and it's just like, holy shit, this is so good. And you get to be kind of like a fan of them, even if it's hard to look at the whole game and go like but it is actually a really exciting time. Like with it's going to be one of those years. It feels like we're kind of back now, and it's an exciting year. Let's see. Have I got more notes? Of course, and our good Panda has been holding down the fort with the socials and also moderating, as he's over there as well. Massive shout out to the mods who keep everything running smoothly. It's it is a relief to have them all around, and they are good folks.
Yeah.
Much more reliable than I have been recently, which has been great. So yeah, I think with that, it kind of takes us into the Q&A section, unless any of you chaps have anything more to add.
Yes, unless you have something to share, Jason.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I just, like Chris said, it's exciting, and we're excited. We got a lot of like things planned, and we're full steam ahead for the year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We'll kick off with the Q&A. Obviously, we're like the head honcho is not available, and so I can give an approximation of some answers, but like between me and Jason, we can muddle through. But something we're going to punt. In fact, there's probably a lot of stuff we'll end up punting. So come back in 2 months, and we'll. And obviously, you don't have to wait for a video chat to be able to ask us questions. We're around, at us in the Discord, and we'll chat. But yeah, with that,
all right,
I'll bring up this. And,
so our first question is from Tretchbolt, who asks, is there any updates on custom sounds and music?
Custom sounds and music? Not actually.
There's no update on that yet. I've been busy working on the new art stuff. No update. I'm sorry about that. I should be working on that stuff. And I will be as the year progresses, probably do some more things, but once again, I'm a little hesitant to do too much on the music side. because we have some ideas floating around that we want to try to work out system wise, and how we, if we ever get a player going. But that's not to say that I won't be adding any more.
Yeah, and this was actually to do with custom stuff as well. So
on custom stuff. Sorry about that. Yeah. That has nothing.
Sure,
forget it.
Oh, it's good. So on the custom side, no massive update yet. Like the sound effects were more likely to be in with the general effects system, which there has been kind of discussion on. We've got a bit more of an idea of what the shape of that is going to be. So there will be a library of effects down the bottom that you can go and grab and put on. There's been discussions on some of the things we have to do experiments is to do with like how listeners work, right? Like if you have a big explosion that happens and you're zoomed way out, but your character is really near the explosion, what do we do? There's some expected things. I'm sure it's more likely that it's going to be it seems very obvious that it's probably the listener's going to be on your head as the kind of player and not the creature itself. But there's also a case of ambient sounds in the world. So if we start adding sound, like ambient sounds to tiles, like a fireplace has a little fire crackle on it, and what we can do then is we can filter around your character and okay, what is nearby, and what makes sense there. Maybe that has got a bit more kind of localized information to it, because you can't just play every ambient sound at someone, because it's just going to be awful. But yeah, there's some there is work going on there. So that's the most I can say as an update. And we'll here's the tune we can all sing along at home. Come back when we can talk about the roadmap. Yeah, let's do the next one.
All right. Forge of Lore asks, are any modern tile sets in the works? Not cyberpunk, but modern day, like brick and concrete set, like the brick and concrete sets.
Rachel's been working on stuff,
right? No, not tiles.
Oh yeah, of course.
Not tiles, props. As far as tiles, not at the moment. We do have plans for those though this year, from more modern kind of brick and concrete sets, skyscraper, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, we've got Hannah chomping at the bit to get at some more sci-fi stuff and things the kind of mega sector stuff. But yeah, no, specifically modern. No, that's we'll have to see on that. Well, like you say, later in the year. Next,
Jason Blob asks, can we get origin stories for the names Bouncyrock and TaleSpire?
Oh Jesus, I remember. So that's funny. I remember being told about Bouncyrock the first time when I must have been 16. I Johnny and I, for history, Johnny and I used to make little games together online when we were kids, and I remember he was doing the Neverwinter Night modding stuff with you, Jace.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the first logo. Yeah. Were you yeah? What
I wasn't around for the creation of the name Bouncyrock. That came to me. So he had that already kind of established when we were, but that was, that was back in 2000. Oh man.
Yeah.
2005, 2004, I think 2004. Yeah. That's when we were first starting to mod. And I basically went, so before I met him through his, at the time girlfriend Michelle, who was she ran a podcast, a Neverwinter Nights podcast, and I just won a basically a little contest for design a tiny module based on the Grim fairy tales, and I just won that. So they wanted to interview me, and so I met her through that particular podcast, and then she was like, hey, my boyfriend does blah blah blah, he's a really great artist and everything like that, and she showed me some of his art, and I was like I gotta work with him. And so basically she hooked us up, so we met, and the rest is history. But he came with that name, he had that kind of established before, so that was probably something that if you heard about that, Chris, so that was
pre you. And then were you there for TaleSpire? Because obviously I joined.
Oh yeah, 100%. So what happened was when we were first starting this project, we were calling it Tile Dungeon. That was like the working name. Yeah. And so and it was like, we can't, this is not Tile Dungeon. We had to do something. So we came up with a list of names, and we basically, kind of like what we're doing right now. We're just like, we leave it to the community. And so what we did, we held a poll on, I think it was Twitter or something. And we was like, hey guys, what do you think? Like, and we gave a list of names on like, what do you think is the coolest? And everybody voted for TaleSpire, and we were like, all right, TaleSpire it is, man. Yeah. And I can't remember who came up with that name. But yeah, him and I just came up with a list of names, and I think we like dumped like 10 names on Twitter and just had people vote for it, and they voted for TaleSpire. So that's how TaleSpire came to be.
I'm learning about I'm learning about TaleSpire right now.
Deep lore.
I can't believe I never asked that.
All right. Over Zorman asks, does the particle system support JIT compilation? I.e., will I be able to create effects during a session on the fly?
No, because we have to produce compute shaders, and depending on the target, like those are pre-compiled. So this is tooling for that exists in Unity. I'm not sure what we'll be exposing and how we'll expose that in the game itself. It might be more pre-made blocks or something like this at that point. That's a really good question. Like that is down the road ways. So yeah. Like, because with something like OpenGL, you used to be able to like, you would ship the source and then like compile on device. But obviously we're running on Metal and DirectX, which both pre-compiled now, I believe. And yeah, that's done in Unity because we make one shader that gets cross-compiled to other things. So yeah, not great for that. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Jason Blob asks, can the art team talk more about the creative and development process behind the assets? E.g., how much time does it take on average to go from ideation to implementation?
Oh boy. Well, see, that depends on the piece. And I mean, on average, oh gosh, I really, it's hard to give you an average, man. I'm sorry. I will say this though, like, okay, so snowshoes, for instance, there was a snowshoes thing in one of the packs, and I busted through that in about 3 hours, almost like from ideation to implementation, right? That's just a prop. So if you're talking about a character, man, yeah, that can take anywhere from 8 to 16 hours maybe. Depending on the complication of for instance, like the latest, one of the latest packs, it was the Hydra, right? The false Hydra, that thing took, I would say 16, maybe 24 hours, because you're doing like 3 humanoids on the ends of the tentacles, and you're doing all kinds of details. But then, as you're going through that, you have to like see what works and what doesn't from a different perspective. So if they're clogging up too much of the space and you're looking at the silhouette, and sometimes you have to change things around. Yeah, it's time and average is hard to nail down. Props, usually I would say like an average prop would probably take around like 4 hours. If it's like, a decent prop, if it's just a bottle, whatever, characters probably around like 8 to 16 hours.
Yeah. Because you start on the high poly sculpts, right? And then
you start on the high poly sculpts. Yeah, you do. Yep. You start on the high poly sculpts. Then what happens is in the same software, you decimate that sculpt. You basically make a duplication of it, dynamesh it, so all the pieces are combined. So say if you have a guy and he's got a dagger, he's got pauldrons, he's got armor and everything like that. What you'll do is you do this thing called dynamesh, which basically makes it one mesh. It takes everything together and just and creates one mesh out of it. And then you smooth that around and you make sure that there's no like weird holes in the mesh, so that like when you decimate and for the low poly, you're not getting kind of errant faces or anything like that. And then what happens is you basically you create UV islands out of that low poly character. So you're cutting up like arms and things like that. It's almost like if you were to look at a pattern for a sweater or a stuffed animal. If you look at like a pattern for a sweater or a stuffed animal, somebody also did something with the lint. You know those lint bunnies that you get like during Easter, and like they're in foil. And when you unwrap the thing and they're all like on a foil, basically that's almost like unwrapping a model right there. You know, that's just like one. It's like one seam and just kind of like unwrapping it and flattening it out, and then that's kind of like, you know, the whole texture right there. So what we do is if you want decent texel density, you basically want to try to cut up as much as you can, which, you know, to a point which makes sense, and then you know, flatten those out onto the UV. So if you look at a UV, you'll have like, you know, just a face, you'll have like an arm, you'll have a leg, a foot, and sometimes you can go a little. So it depends on like the model too, but sometimes you can do little tricks. So if you, like the bottom of the feet, for instance, are never really going to be seen. So they can take up just as much texel density as a fist, right? That's going to be very seen, or a face, for instance, you know? So like the foot right here is taking up just as much space on that UV map as the face. And so what you want to do is take that bottom of the foot and shrink it so that, you know, it's not taking up as much. And, you know, little things like that. So all of that being said, that's kind of like, you know, the process. And then after that, once you have the UVs and everything, you take it into something like a substance painter, and then you bake out the model. You bake out all those high poly details onto the low poly model. And that includes, you know, UV maps, normal maps. That includes the albedos, the colors, any of the ambient occlusions and things like that you can work with inside of Substance Painter to, you know, do its thing. And we have a Substance Designer material that we use inside of Substance Painter that kind of uniforms and unifies like the look of TaleSpire. And we, you know, that works with the different maps and everything like that. So and then once that's all done, you have the map, you have all the maps, you have the model, and then we go into Unity, and we go into, you know, Tailweaver, the proper Tailweaver, not Tailweaver Lite, but like and then we integrate it into the game and see how it is, and, you know, we'll play around with the mini and see how it looks, and it's like, you know what, this could be, you know, a little brighter, this could be a little blah, blah, blah. I don't like those colors, you know. And then, you know, you're just going back and forth and working between Unity and Substance Painter to kind of get the look that you want. So yeah, that's you know, that's a very high level overview of kind of like what we do, you know, as artists and stuff like that. So, and
then you got like just that's when you know what you're doing. And then you've got like experimental sets, which you end up kind of like, blocking out shapes and getting them in game and like trying to see if it will work and find out how that could work as a tile. It's really impressive to see from the outside, I must admit. So those ones take a long time.
Yeah.
Like we've already had one round on the roof stuff for the castle, which just, you know, didn't quite work. It had really good ideas, and like it's getting reshaped, and nothing's a waste, but it's like, you do.
Yeah, I mean, look at the mega sector. The mega sector took me a long time, and it's like, nah, this isn't ready. You know, it needs another set of eyes, and like I want Hannah to get in on it, and let's, you know, get it. So, yeah, man, really does depend on the piece or the set.
So between 400 and 400 hours. And the 12 hours.
400
as well.
There you go.
Okay. Monophos says, "Hey guys, today's my birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I have spread the word for TaleSpire ever since I got it on Steam, and winning a good amount of people with screenshots and clips of my sessions. However, there are those that just outright scoff at the notion of playing online, or the only way to play is in person. Commenting it looks like a video game, and if they want to play a video game, they'll play a video game. What are your thoughts on people dismissing TS and other 3D VTTs when they want to play tabletop RPGs?
Love it. Like really, really important that people play in a way that lets them engage, like
Yep.
that works for them. Here's a wild example. Like if you go back to our Kickstarter video, we had oh, don't blank me now. Jason, help me out. Name of the guy who did our wonderful
The
trailer.
Bard?
The Bard rules.
Yeah.
Like he came there with his muscularity, and but that dude will never play TaleSpire. That's not his thing. All he wants is, like, at most a whiteboard. So and that's great. Like, again, obviously you'd always prefer that people came from the position of like having tried things or like being like open to stuff, but it's not a big deal. There's just it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. And really, from I've been playing tabletop RPG since whatever, man, I was 12, and the thing is that, like, if you, in my opinion, if you can get together with people, play at a table with people, and keep that alive, man. The thing is that, like, these guys live in Norway, and I like to play games with them. I live in the States. We're not going to get around a table anytime soon. There's certainly not on like a weekly basis. So, TaleSpire for me is something that is like the physicality of TaleSpire and the way that everything feels like an extension of your arm. It's like the next best thing. It may look like a video game. Sure. If that's, to me, it looks like when I'm inside TaleSpire playing with these guys, it feels like I'm at a table with them, as close as I can get. As far as I'm, the options out there right now, TaleSpire feels like, to me, like as close as we can get to physically rolling dice and physically moving miniatures around a table. I like that. So I'm all about that. But if you can get around a table, get around a table. And everybody has their opinions, everybody has their things, and nobody's wrong. That's the thing. It's almost like, it's like when they say, oh yeah, I got the best dog. It's like everybody's got the best dog, and then none of them are wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, everybody's dog is the best dog.
Yeah.
And it's so yeah. When it comes to this, that's
as long as you're not nicking someone else's fun. I mean, like,
exactly.
Just don't mess up for other people.
There's all sorts of tools out there for playing tabletop RPGs, whether it's in person or online, and it's going to be a different tool for a different table. Everyone's gonna find their own little niche, and everyone's gonna like their own thing. But I mean, I'm gonna echo what Jason said. I am in the camp that TaleSpire is the closest digital offering to having the feeling of a table, and I think a lot of people that probably scoff at that, they're probably just never going to try an online tool. And I mean,
I love sending people over to Tabletop Simulator as well, because there's a certain kind of like person who just like, that's actually just like it's just a better fit, and that's great. Like we shouldn't be that, and they're not us, and that works.
I mean, luckily now we do have the guest edition in seats, so that always provides a good avenue to be like, hey, if you are willing to give it a shot, here's come join my campaign as a guest, and just see how it feels.
Guest edition is going to be getting some improvements in the future as well.
Yes,
look out for those. It's going to be sick.
Yep.
All right. Our next question is from Overzorman, who says, just to confirm, the particle system does not support standard shaders, i.e. it is impossible to create a Skybox or SDF objects with it.
Incorrect. So that's interesting. I don't know why you would want to create. You might have to show me like a Skybox being done with particles, because I don't know what that would be for. But like, so it uses in the model we're using, which is very like the model that Returnal uses, a particle is actually just a piece of data like a struct, and there's big buffers of those guys. The visual part is something that is emitted by a particle. Or based on particle data. So it could be that every particle gets a mesh, and that mesh is drawn wherever the particle decides to be drawn. Or it might be that each particle doesn't actually have a specific mesh that it's drawing, but it emits triangles. And it has like a chain. There is a relationship between a bunch of of particles, which means that you can make like chains of graphics using that kind of thing. So yeah, you could do sign distance fields. Maybe the particles form a grid and the particle actually just expresses density, and then you're going to do rendering over the top of that using that density field that's modeled by particles. And it could be other particles that are interacting with that field as well. But yeah, there's a bunch of ways you can use these things. It's just there's two parts of the shaders as well. Like when you're drawing the meshes, we can use Amplify, which is the shader system, which is Unity's kind of so Unity has different ways of doing shaders. Amplify is a shader graph kind of tool that lives on top of that, and we've used for all of our stuff in game. It's really cool. Most of our stuff in game. So for the drawing stuff on screen, like the surface of meshes and things, we use those shaders, which are standard Unity ones. The graphs are often about the behaviors, and they are compute shaders that are working on that that data, the particle data, that like individual like structs and buffers kind of thing. So yeah, it's different. They are standard in the way that they're normal like shaders that GPUs support, and they're like in Unity. But when you're writing compute shaders, if you've done that, there's a bunch of plumbing and like managing all these buffers and making sure they get created and stuff. And if you're making changes, then like, and this thing is running, then you've got to like, which properties carry over to the new thing, and like how do you pass data up and all this kind of stuff. Like that's my job, is to hide that away and make a nice experience for the artist so they can just make effects. Yeah.
All right. Our next question comes from Fibyte, who says, "Hello, team. Can we have the possibility to insert picture or map in dedicated scene or as windows to the player? Would be also great to be able to have a note folder with the DM button to click to open them."
Notes is something that's definitely on the roadmap. Pictures like directly into the map we're not doing. We wanted to do something like we've talked about, very much like a blueprints type system. Not blueprints as in like Unreal blueprints, but like ways of visualizing some stuff in the board, but there's nothing on the near-term roadmap for that. So yeah, no. But the notes, yes, we need to be able to have a way of sharing images down the line. Sharing custom media gets tricky in terms of storage and all this kind of stuff. So ideally we'd do that peer-to-peer, and that's got back-end implications. Yes. Homer agrees. And yeah, so that's for another time. But yeah, notes for sure is something we've been, is coming up again in the plans.
Okay. Jason Blob asks, if you could magically and instantly clone any features from the late project Sigil, what would those be?
The only thing I don't have a strict way to do right now is that the physics engine that we build on from Unity. Unity has some different physics engines, that kind of built in one, and then they released one as this package, which was like a partial physics engine, and we build on top of that. It doesn't give me a great answer. No, that's actually not true. Even like the way I've set things up doesn't give me a great answer for like putting a mini on a thing and then that being raised up, like the lifts. Right. That was one thing that I just don't have there is no near-term fix for that. Yeah, that would be one. Like if I could just take that, maybe. But like,
so I really liked their area note system. I thought that was really neat.
Cool. Yeah, but yeah, I couldn't think of anything else. You, Chase?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, maybe like I did like their wall variation when you like when you put a wall down, and I think you could cycle through like variations like quickly. You know, that was pretty neat. They did good. I think we had that or did we have that?
We had some variant stuff back in the day, and that's going to come back in another form.
Yeah.
So that'll make things.
Yeah. So, no, man, you know, they had some cool shit going. They really did. It's sad.
Yep.
It's sad that like.
Yeah. All right. Maybe Me 1990 asks, I was looking over the devlog earlier and was curious about something. With ambience moving towards systemic weather and mood, how are you balancing runtime configurability against determinism, network sync, and frame time stability on large boards?
Hard. Yeah, it's you have some leeway in a project like this because it's not like a fighting game where it has to be frame accurate. When you need to be is like within your kind of 100 milliseconds or so of like reasonableness. Even you get more slop than that. With a dice, it could be like easily be half a second out. It's not going to be a problem. A second wouldn't be much of a problem, as long as when people are talking about things, they're in the right places. Yeah. When it comes to weather, obviously we're not going to like make sure that every raindrop is synchronized or something like this. There will have to be some kind of like some things which keep stuff in line if there's behaviors running on separate machines. Like if a thing is like a turret that's turning 90 degrees every X seconds or something like this, then you'd want the time in general to be in step. And so we can do some things to make sure that the timer we're using for driving that stuff is thing. But yeah, it's basically just a hard problem. There's so some of the wording there, it makes it a little tricky to answer, but I guess that's the networking side. Like frame time stability, our frame time isn't stable now. That is just like keep working towards better performance, and just if we have to rewrite something that it's really painful that sometimes when you're panning around, like the thing that actually is taking the most time in the frame can be like text, which is super annoying because it doesn't look like anything's happening with the text, and then it's like 30 milliseconds of just text events. Making sure we don't like use the garbage collector. So we've got C#. It's like this garbage collected language, right? But if you use if you just allocate things all the time and the garbage collector has to clean them up, then it spends time doing that, and it doesn't know. Like garbage collectors don't know about games. Like they don't know about your game, so they don't know when in a frame is a good time to like clean up some resource. And that's a problem because you really need things to be stable. And so taking control of more of that is one thing, but you've obviously also got the pushback on the other side, which is like people have got to be able to work in this project. It's growing, so it's like you can't just make it like that was something I didn't do as well in the past, was make like some things became more crystalline and harder to modify. We have like, I think I mentioned this in the devlog, like there's like so many years of my mistakes in there, and that's what some of this architecture work is, to try and resolve how some of the things have become too coupled. It's tough. It's a tough problem. You're also, because it's a UGC game, like a user-generated content, like the folks who are building so much stuff, we can't win. It's impossible. Like we up the number of tiles, and someone will generate that number of tiles. Like people will like, well, up to the limit. They will work to the limit, and that's great. This is what we want, and I'll keep on pushing harder to like get things to run well, and then people will use that extra frames a second to make it, like as impressive as they can dream, and that's just the fight. You can't win, and that's fine.
All right. Our next question comes from TaleSpire Enthusiast. Hello, team. I have a vision of seamless integration between the visual splendor of TaleSpire and the backend mechanics mastery of Foundry. Foundry 14 has API integration, and also it has a small dedicated dev team. Any chance for a team up? Bearing that, where is the symbiote function upgrade on the roadmap so the community can take a crack at it?
Yeah, I can't tell you when that is in the roadmap because, like I say, that's still being worked out. But very much like so. We have. Like, I don't think it makes sense for us, given how much there is already to do, for us to like try and integrate Foundry ourselves. Like we have. Like a Symbiote API, I'm not sure what could be done with it as far as like WebSockets and things. I haven't looked at their API. So no, don't think we'll be doing that. But yeah, there's we've got a lot of things to do with Symbiotes. Symbiotes, it could be an exciting place to try out some of the things for the rule system that's coming down the line as well. And so yeah, we're going to make sure there's the functionality there to do all the things, and then we just got to, give our TaleSpire version of a rule system, so we can have that really, that really cool experience, and things flow nice and quickly. I'm excited for that. Wish I could take it more.
I have met the Foundry folks at Con. They're pretty
awesome.
Cool guys.
Yeah, like they've made an amazing thing. It was really impressive.
All right. Tretchbolt asks, any progress with fixing the issue with hide volumes not being hidden when you adjust the height level hider slide bar thing?
Not progress, but I know what to do, and it just needs doing. I just like, yep, I'm on other tasks, but I will get there. But it is high. As soon as I'm back on bugs, it's one of the first ones. It's that, and the stability with reconnection, which is the biggest one I really want to get to.
All right. Stretchbolt also asks, do the tags cover sets, such as Curse of Strahd minis or Waterdeep minis, etc.?
So I'm not exactly sure of the what the question means, but if it's like, could I tag tiles with Waterdeep, for example? Yes, it would allow you to do that. So we I didn't actually cover that entirely well, but yeah, like I said, we provide a standardized set of tags, and we in our tooling we provide a questionnaire, which means that if people use this, every tile ends up with a good selection of tags that you can then rely on. You can just I know this kind of things to search in TaleSpire to find these kinds of things. But it also has the ability to just add custom tags as well, and that's fine. So if you wanted to tag all your stuff with Strahd, that's great. But you can't guarantee that other people are going to do that. So yeah, stuff.
Yeah, so that would be up to the community to kind of form around and be like, hey, let's make sure we tag our stuff with these modules if they're from modules.
Yeah. Yeah, conventions will emerge.
Yeah. Over Zorman asks, is it possible to search for items that do not have a specific tag? And if yes, what's the syntax? Exclamation point armed? Minus armed?
You know, we don't have that in there now. I know it's something we discussed. There is a balance to be had between like making like an advanced search with just all this stuff and something people can just drop into and type and get results. And this is where we've landed on for this version. And yeah, I'll have to let you know. I can't remember. I know some systems don't like. I don't think Modio, for example, allows us to do the negation. So there is like, yeah, providing a consistent experience. Obviously, there's difference between the two, but like, yeah, it's a good question. I don't have a full answer for you yet.
Yeah. Over Zorman asks, you mentioned you use Photon for networking. Why not the Unity Dots netcode for entities? Just curious, as a game dev working on a multiplayer game using ECS.
Oh, awesome. That's great. I mean, like part of it was because when we started, that didn't exist. The other thing is that Photon provides the backend, right? Like we haven't had to worry about hosting servers all over the world and everything that entails. Where obviously, if we're going to do this down the line, then we do have to do that. And you know, that's costs and that's time and that's like expertise, and we definitely didn't have that. So to be able to just drop a package in and like stuff worked, that was really impressive. Like literally the only problem we've had with Photon, actually their support is like they're keeping their old stuff running. They've been very good at that. The only issue we've had is like we've had times where we definitely have Photon issues. We can see it like in the aggregate, like a region is having a problem, but the reporting on their end says that there is no problem, and that's really difficult to rely on. So yeah, it's yeah, but that's why it was it's good.
Fibyte asks, as a developer, can we help implementing features?
No.
Okay.
I mean, other than through symbiotes. I mean, that's the place where we've kind of made. We're going to make an API that we can actually like is stable and you can rely on, and we can keep going backwards compatible going forward. But in the game itself, I'm afraid not.
Okay. Genghis asks, any idea when Modio will be able to do boards?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? I mean, like, yeah, it just, I mean, it needs doing. The thing is really I kind of things we've like, there is already we've got great sites for doing that. Like we have two of them. And what we should do, like, I think first is make the REST API. So you can just like, if you provide this API, you can just take, you know, like Tails Tavern and drop that into the settings and say, here's a repository and search there. Like it's really like it's annoying me because it's like it's something I could do. It's not the biggest task, but like yeah, it's kept on slipping down my list, and I'm happy with myself for that. The only advantage is obviously we've had more experience integrating third parties now, so we know the kind of limitations we're getting from there. So that at least lets us like we can look at what we've got and go, okay, this is the API we need. But yeah, so I don't have a date for that, but it should.
All right. Forge of Lore asks, any update on self-hosting options for TaleSpire?
Update is that work continues. The server re-architecting, a fundamental part of that is being able to self-host. Don't expect it in the near term, but we are working on it. We have like, and the goal is like, our dream right now is that you can like, that you can run the server on a Steam Deck. So you literally like that's our kind of like head kind of thing. We want to be able to grab a Steam Deck, go and find like TaleSpire server, click play, it sets itself up, and you connect locally to that thing. Or you can just, again, if you know how to do that, set yourself up a server in the cloud, do that. That's great. We're not going to handle all the forward porting, yes, port forwarding and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you know, like for experts, this is all there. But yeah, it is being built along with everything else. It's really cool.
Right. Dean Death asks, are there any plans for character sheet and inventory integration?
Yes, there are. It's really good. There's been technical talks. We know how we want to do the storing of inventory stuff now, which is great. I've got to write up a spec for like what Borodust we're making on the back end, which is cool. We already know it can be done. He's like, again, designed kind of like the main idea with me. We are the feature spans a few different things. So there's the kind of the thing we've been calling the inventory down the bottom, which is really these kind of like the 2D things are like tokens. These are like token collections. And so being able to have those for building your own palettes of assets, for example. So like, hey, these are the tiles I use for making taverns, put them into a palette, and then you can have that between all your campaigns, things like that. So that kind of inventory is, we know what we're doing there. The inventory where it's like quantities of things on creatures specifically, that I don't have the like design for yet. We have, yeah, that's as much as I can talk about that right now. But yes, like it's yes, we need these things because we need them for the rule system, for example, for the full version of that.
Yeah. Remember TV asks, will status effects include more effects at launch or later in the future, like fire? Sorry if you already said that. I just arrived.
Hey, well, not that I know. Like for V1, I'm not entirely sure how many more things, because we've got a lot of other stuff to do. But like I say, we still need to do the other status tokens and things. I'm not sure. Actually, that is something I'm going to write down. Say status, not status token, status 2D roadmap, because I didn't see that in there, and I just want to bring that up on our next chat. Yeah, so I cannot tell you if there will be more. My guess would be not, but like I actually don't know, so I'm guessing as much as you are. So I should just shut up. What are we doing?
All right. Morfidel 2069 asks, so I understand there's a weather system coming. Thought I saw a tidbit about using particle effects in rain, also snow and such. Also, yeah. I know Fog of War has been in discussion. Has that been given up on?
No, not given up on. Not at all. No. The old version has, like the first version I made, that there is still some like remnants of in there. That all got given up on because it just didn't work well enough. That's an example of something we put a lot of time into, and then just like when you threw players at it, was like, oh, this doesn't work. Actually, Panda was the one that utterly broke my all my hard work.
I just came in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So yes, we will be having a weather system. And yeah, that's the kind of things we can build when we have a VFX system we can rely on. It's one of those places you do need something that will like scale well. And we tried to use what Unity had at the time, and it's just not it. And we can't moving up to the new one, like you weren't here at the time, but I'll let you know that there are different render pipelines in Unity, and going up to the very latest one would mean a whole bunch of changing stuff. And you're still kind of hoping that like the thing that it says on the tin is what's inside the tin, which hasn't been the case historically. So no. It's on the roadmap.
All right. Axiom Aztec asks, is there any plan to have more native integration with mod support directly within the TaleSpire application to mitigate some of the need of mod managers, etc.?
Native integration with mod support direct. So is this talking about the unofficial mods, like the DLL hacking kind of things?
I think that would be, yes.
Yeah, no plan for that. Like, we have to provide something that we can like make guarantees about, like so that you can like start this thing up and it's going to work for you and your players. We can't do that with stuff that goes into the internals because we need to be able to change stuff and like really massively. Like there are changes that we've made, fundamental changes how the game works that you'll have never seen because we write things to handle those transformations and make sure that things don't break in the best. Well, it should always be the case. And yeah, that we just can't do if things can fiddle around. So we're happy they build stuff. That's great, but like we can't make that a first-class citizen in the game itself without providing instability.
Okay. Stretchbolt asks, could we have a hotkey that would automatically change the measure tool for moving the minis around to a single key press? People in my group struggle getting the right thing selected in the submenu for the measurement tools to get that turned on properly. They could just hit a key and it would turn on. It would be easier.
I'm misunderstanding this somehow. So hotkey to turn on.
So like right now, I believe to do the ruler stuff, it's always R and that toggles your ruler, and it's always pretty much the sphere until you select a different one, which you have to do via clicking the submenu or a second hotkey. Okay. So I feel like what they're asking here is specifically how to do that with one hotkey. Specifically, it looks like they are doing the creature measurement according to their chat here, which is I believe currently R and then 4 is the default.
I think 5, but yeah, like
when you pick up a mini and it has the line.
Yeah, that one's sticky. That one stays on once you've set it. Like you set it, and then like whenever you pick up minis, it's on, right? That's not a thing that's not a standard ruler. It lives down there, but like it's not a. So I actually don't know the answer because I don't quite understand.
I mean, it could be that they're toggling it on and off, that they don't want it on all the time.
Yeah, maybe. Then I will say, if you can formulate that into a feature request and in the site, then it won't get lost. And then I can bug you more directly on, like we can have a back and forth on what that means. Because I'd love to understand what you're saying. Like that, it's not a you problem. It's me getting my head right.
They are clarifying a bit with all the rulers down in that one section. They get toggled on and off by mistake.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
It's very easy to accidentally toggle the wrong ruler.
Right. Yeah. Again, if you can make that into a feature request, like so it doesn't get lost, I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to have a look because that sounds frustrating.
All right. Jason Blob says Gaza, the legendary moderator in Discord, already announced no expected change will occur due to Discord's recent announcement. But do you foresee expanding TaleSpire into other social platforms additionally?
I guess it's right. We're not rushing on this one. I mean, like, I think all of us know, like we've seen the pattern now with like IPOs and stuff like this. Like, they make thing that they big pile of money, make a thing that they can't afford to run, and then hope to work out that problem eventually. I don't know, because they let us just upload like files like for free. And how long are they meant to keep that? I don't understand the business model entirely. Obviously, they keep pushing. And we know the general pattern. We've seen this before with so many things that like it's going to suck eventually. And when it sucks, eventually, we'll have to do something else. Like if it becomes untenable, like people won't want to be there. And then like there's no point us just being here with no one there. So I mean, I think in the long term, like we'll have to work out something, but I'm not like we're not going to lead the charge on that right now. Like, yeah, let's see what kind of comes out of this, because it's going to be a lot of stuff happening over the next year, I think, with especially hopefully like a lot of open source projects and things. But man, like dealing with scams and all that kind of stuff, that's a big deal. And hosting, like I don't want to host arbitrary people's data. Like that's rough, like legally and moderator wise and all this, just terrifying. So yeah, I hope there's a good answer coming out there, because I don't know.
All right. Dean Death asks, what are the highest priority items that we can expect in the near future?
Moving to IRC. No, I just more of an answer to the last one. Let's just do that. BBS and IRC would be great. In the near term, man, you know what? I'm gonna not answer this one, just because it could overlap with roadmap stuff, and I just don't want to do that right now. But yeah, like I said, from my side, I've got some architectural stuff, but all the stuff I can say that I'm working on is like not visible so much to you guys, which is a bit of a shame. So expect me to be a bit kind of in the background with lots of devlogs for the first like third half this year. But we will fill you in with a better answer, like in due course.
All right. Morphidel 2069 says, sorry to beat a dead horse, but since I'm so anxious about Fog of War, you say it's on the roadmap. I get you can't promise anything, but how close or far away is it at a guess? Do you even have a guess?
The thing is, like, so like Chair and I sat down and like came up with a really solid idea of what we think will work, but we could be wrong, right? Like, so I hope, like, let's say roadmap planning, then we're going to get to decide kind of where we've got, there is some stuff that we've promised for the Kickstarter we've got to get done. There is like other features, like, you know, like hide volumes need love. Like we've already said, that was one of the things that came up earlier. They need attention. We've got to get that stuff done. So I can't work out an order on this thing. So I'm hoping that when that gets up the list and we get to focus on it, that our plan was right, because otherwise we got to think of another one, and that's fine. We'll just keep doing it until we work it out. But yeah, I'm sorry, it's super unsatisfying, both for you to hear and me to say. I look forward to being able to give a non-crap answer.
Right.
About a coffee.
Nocturnal Wish asks, glad I caught another stream. Gotta ask again, as I always do, roofs to match the diagonal walls of the Mega Dungeon pack win? I have had a Mega build for a while that I love the detail of the Mega Dungeon pack gives,
Of course.
but I can't finish it without roofs to match the angled walls.
Yeah, we need to like
Experiment. Yeah, that's like that. Yeah, that requires some experimentation, and really, we should try something.
Yeah, that was like we experimented that set and we're like, yes, this is a good experiment, but we haven't actually kind of gone back and like looked at the results of the experiment.
Yeah,
and that's going to be required to answer that question.
Yeah, because like diagonals don't even feel that great. They work as far as like gameplay, but while you're building out with them and everything like that, it's still, they need that the experiment still needs some work. And like, yeah, man, the roofs for that, wow.
That's really interesting internal chat going on about how like to do with how tiles and props are implemented in general, which could give us some more avenues. But like, yeah, that's again experiment. We got to see what comes out of that. But
I was gonna say, shot in the heart, Jason. I love the diagonals. Literally, my only issue is doors and hide volumes with them. That's it.
Yeah, see again, doors, right?
Yep.
And yeah, doors, roofs, those kinds of things that work with diagonals. It's like something that we're gonna have to figure out.
Yep. All right. The Penguins of Dooms asks, first time chatter here and new player. Is there any thoughts on a custom mini maker within TaleSpire?
Oh yes, that is Yeah, that's high up the list for a certain so yeah, that's it's really exciting. It's a big old project. There's like he's built a bunch of character creators before, so we're in kind of good hands with regards to that being done. When like he's got far enough along that we can have that we know what the kind of when we finalized what the kind of architecture of the bodies, like body parts, is going to be, then Jason's going to be released to make loads of body parts so you can click them all together. I can't say right now whether the first version, like what limitations the first version versus the second version will have of that in terms of like humanoids versus creatures and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's one of those parts of the game that I don't worry about because I just know that is going to be okay. Yeah.
All right. Dean Death asks, will there be a way to tie die rolls to health bars, i.e. Wizard casts Fireball, which opens an AoE template to place, tied to dice rolls, that then applies the result to health bars or creatures in the AoE?
Yeah. This is something we've... oh, sorry, Jason, go for it.
Oh, no. I mean, that's part of the custom... Like, yeah, it's part of the custom rule set that we need to work on.
Yeah, one of the things we're very adamant about is we have very strong opinions on the feeling of using these things. We don't want to take like, so here's an example. Like you pick an attack, something happens, right? And then like here's a version we don't want. The dice just roll themselves and all the math is done like automatically. That bit's fine. Math's fine. And then it instantly applies the damage, and then the damage has gone below 0, so the monster disappears. Now, if that monster was, the climax of your campaign, that sucks because like the big bad just disappeared before your GM got to monologue for you to tell you like what happened from like how epic your swing was, how like enduringly romantic this whole expedition is, and all this thing. Like it steals a moment. So we need to make sure that from a TaleSpire feel point of view, that there is always a place to like we present like these options. We like do the bookkeeping, like we do the math, we do the things and present those actions so that you can apply them. And then there is like still presence and impact and meaning. And yeah, that like we've got solid ideas for. Like again, the mechanics, like I'd already started on the this is a bit embarrassing. Like I started on the dice like system, like the dice language a long time ago. And then I got a comment that was like, oh, I can't even remember what it was about. It was like chiding me for like something that I'd been neglecting. And it was like, oh, you did all this compiler stuff and you should be like focusing on this other thing. And I got like, no, fine, I'll do the other thing. And I went off and did a whole bunch of things. And I just haven't got... So this is the reason you don't have a better dice system right now, is someone mean to me on the internet. someone had a constructive criticism and I got distracted. Yeah, so some of that stuff is like well underway. How it all fits together, how like statuses and like effects, for lack of a bit, like if it's a very nebulous term, how they apply. So like, hey, you've like been injured and you're under a thing, so you can't walk as fast. Now, how is that applied in a generic rule system? We have ideas, and in fact, Pavel was building a symbiote to help with this kind of stuff a while ago, and some of the ideas he came up with that were really cool. I've been like stealing from him and looking through other rule systems. Johnny's been doing research as well. So like we got things are shaping up. Yeah, that's as far as it can go. So automatically applying, we probably won't do a thing where it's just like, and it's just applied straight away. But we will make it so that applying that is very frictionless. Again, maintain that moment.
Okay. Dean Death asks, is a Dwarven tile set planned for? Please say yes.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. We have something planned this year. So.
All right. I know you've been itching to do that for quite a while.
Yes.
Someone was saying, sorry, maybe me was also saying, the more automation you do, the less system agnostic you become. It's hard. trying to be system agnostic in that, and also make something you'd want to use. Like there's limitations. Like this is something we actually talked on very early on. Like these systems are so expressive that being able to present things is almost the way to go when it's agnostic. But then you've got to be able to do a good job with like doing the math as well, because who wants to do that? Like it's hard.
All right, and currently our last question in the queue. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll give a few more minutes as we go through this for any questions that come in, but otherwise I will be closing the question bot here very shortly. Jason asks, you all made me wonder, why are doors a tile instead of a prop?
I mean, they predate props. That's one of the things. There were other reasons as well. The line between it's definitely one of those things that kind of sits nearer the edge of what should be a tile and what should be a prop. We have to make that call. There was also there was like historically there were going to be more noticeable differences between tiles and props, especially before clipping was allowed, and especially attachment points was going to be a thing that allowed props to be snapped into different places on tiles. And yeah, like I say, there's some changes we'll be doing to kind of some more kind of back-end unification of some of those ideas, and then we'll see how they are revealed through tooling. Yeah. Do you remember anything more about that, Jace? The door thing?
Man, so yeah, I mean, in the beginning when we had whatever you want to call like the it wasn't fog of war, but with the tiles when you open the door and then the room would boom, slap down.
Oh man.
And yes, so it was part of that system, like the hide, the automated hide system.
Of course.
So yeah, man. And it's kind of one of those legacy things that's kind of carried over through. It would make it would absolutely make diagonal wall doors a lot easier if they were proper. That's for sure.
Yeah. We'll see on that one. Cool.
All right, we did have one more question come in. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the bot and we'll get to that one.
Fantastic.
So our final question of the stream is from Axiom Aztec, who says, I saw a mod that allows for vision denial based on a door being closed. Once the door opens, the players can see inside of said room. Is this something that could be added to the core game? I believe that mod is done using toggling hide volumes attached to the door.
It was really cool. I love that exists. So obviously, technically, the answer is yes. Like they did it, we could do it. How much to dive into this? Yes, we could. Let's I'll kind of leave this one open for another time. We do need to make improvements to how high volumes work, and we've got ideas there. I mean, they're not magical ideas. The stuff it's related to stuff you guys have asked before. We can definitely make hide volumes better, and then we can see how they evolve in the future as well. We have ideas depending on how certain other things turn out. Wow, that's nebulous, but yeah.
All right. Well, with that, is there any more today?
Not for me. Just other than thanking everyone for coming out. I'm really excited to be able to talk more about stuff once we've got things more nailed down. I don't know. It's I'm definitely just feeling super pumped on where this is going to be going, and how there's been some there's been some technical things that I've wondered how we're going to get through, and as I mentioned in the last banter, some things have become, I'm beginning to understand certain things, and it's oh, that's how we can get to there, which is really great. And yeah, everything's kind of things are starting to hum along, and it's quite nice.
Well, a big shout out, of course, to the mods for helping us run everything on the server. That's always great.
You guys are the best.
Yeah, and a big shout out, of course, to you guys, the viewers, the players. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So
yes, 100%. Thank you guys for hanging out, man.
Our next banter should be April 10th ish. As expect an announcement to that as we get closer. And until then, we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Ta-ta.
Take care, folks. Have fun.
Bye.